Welcome along, everyone. It is our final day in the Mythic League. Our round robin, double round robin. Round robin's been finished up and being finished off today before we head off to our finals in the next week. And we are going to start things off with what is most likely, obviously there's a bit of room for some craziness, but most likely going to be a precursor to our final match between SGR and Rice Farmers. These two teams have been at the top of the table. Speaking of top of the table, I have been lined up with a top of the table color caster today. I'm here with Lolo.
Escape, that's very kind of you, by the way. Thank you for that. But to begin with, I'm just incredibly excited for this first game and for this final day of the Mythic League. But
no way!
Yeah,
Sorry.
we were just talking about this. Let's just pause for a second here. So Geico is unbelievably cracked on Zeri. That is the most powerful of power picks for SGR to start this draft out. We are seeing, just to mention the bans, a lot of nods to the top lane, which was a very explosive matchup between Archangel and Vez last time these teams faced each other. Notably, SGR's only loss, Rice Farmers, of course, 4-0. SGR's only losses to Rice Farmers, so these teams completely undefeated besides each other. So we're really trying to see here, like, as Escape, you mentioned, if this is going to be the precursor to finals, which 99% it is, then what do these guys have? Are they going to show us, a little bit of something saucy, or are they going to actually just play straight up and try to get as much information from each other as possible? But anyway, let's get back to the picks.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything crazy at the moment. Although, for me, obviously, we're on 12.7 now. We've got that Zeri locked in. There's the Ashe on the other side. So kind of not exactly a counter pick, but a really good option to deal with her in lane. Obviously, she revolves around her speed so much, and Ashe is great at shutting that one down. The Karma and the Volibear also picked up for SGR. Going to be relatively solid power picks. I think, the Karma's going to do a little bit later as we go into later stages. Volibear can start to struggle if he's not far enough ahead to really get that tankiness. Meanwhile, we were talking about the Ahri pre-game, how this was going to be a really important pickup. You were expecting to see it banned, and it is picked first round by Rice Farmers to match up with that Ashe and that Viego.
I really like that from Rice Farmers on that R2 of the RE. It's undefeated on both of these mid laners. Kai'So has been destructive on it so far, 3-0. The champion is just an absolute problem at the moment. Will synergize very nicely with this Viego pick, which Cool Guy Tony has been doing very great work on. There's also on a Camille. Rice Farmers are getting all of their comfort at the moment. And that is, I respect that a lot. Obviously they're going to be giving that over if Archangel does pick that up. That is the counter pick, of course. This does mean that Rice Farmers, a little bit interesting that they are going to hold that potential support counter as their R5, obviously the strongest pick on the red hand side. And Anonymous Chris, their coach this time around, subbed in place of Copper on the support role. So maybe he's got a little bit of something spicy up his sleeve. We'll have to see. But for the time being, that is going to be a favorable top matchup for Archangel.
I'd be very interested to see if that is going to be a Rakan. It would indicate that it's going to be Street Surf on that Karma mid, and it is going to be the case. So that's going to be Nautilus locked in for the support role bot lane for Frozen. So this is a very... for how hard it feels like they've taken Zeri down, she's not exactly a very high damage carry. A lot of the times they're putting a lot of weight on Geico and on Archangel to be those big damage threats this game. Meanwhile, it looks like Rice Farmers wants to seal things up with a Leona pickup or something to match that aggression in the bot lane. Very interesting. You were talking about that counter pick being given over to Archangel as Vez was locked in with that Camille. Now, last time around, we did see that top lane could be very pivotal, but it wasn't, Archangel wasn't quite able to carry it. So, now those lock-ins do come through. The Alistar is there. This is going to be a very high-octane match. I feel like SGR is going to want to try and slow things down as much as possible, but it could be really difficult. Ashe, Viego, Ahri, Alistar, that is a lot of A's and a lot of pick potential.
Of course, absolutely, Escape. Yeah, particularly a lot of A's. And as you said, I do respect now, thinking more about it, the fact that Rice Farmers had a little bit of an inkling as to maybe SGR were going to pivot on this final pick with the Nautilus, because they did hold the support pick to make sure, they weren't going to pick something into the Karma necessarily. So smart play from them. They take the Alistair. That's going to provide a lot of disengage to stop Frozen getting the, getting off those 2v2s that they're looking for, and get Geico to snowball on this power pick from him. So across the board, as you say, a lot of pick potential from Rice Farmers. I think in particular, Street Smurf on this Karma in the mid lane is going to have to be quite careful, because Kai'So's a menace on the RE. Cool Guy Tony, there's the synergy there. Obviously, Pigu can match it on the Volibear, but similarly, I think, yeah, we've got our work cut out for us on both sides. It's definitely going to be explosive. And I'm just excited to see who's going to, put themselves on the front foot in the week before finals.
Yeah, and you got to imagine that the team that's able to win this game, not only are they going to have, you boost your ratings, like you're up, you got room to really put yourself into that top step, but it's really going to boost your confidence, regardless of which side you're going to get in that side selection, just for starting things off in that final round. winning this game is important. This is as close as you're going to get to finals for this matchup. I think whichever team really, especially if there's some sort of comeback or something like that, it could be crazy. So we're going to see how things open up right now. It looks like SGR is going to try and get that opening, just get deep into that jungle, get that vision down, get things started tracking for where that Viego is going to head. And I think, you know, you're kind of right. We could see that Viego and really Chris making their way to that mid lane starting to cause problems for Street Smurf. But I think SGR's composition, you have to look at bot lane. Geico, you know, I don't trust Zeri anymore. You know, I'm very
yes, of course.
Played a lot of Zeri. I've played so much Zeri lately, but since the patches, it starts to make me worry, and I'm very interested to see. You know, SGR clearly trusts it, and so does Geico, but can it do enough?
You make a very good point, Escape. Of course, we are now sitting on 12.7, and this champion has just had a monumental set of changes. It really, you might say she's been gutted. We're not sure yet, but it is going to not be quite the same powerhouse we've seen in previous iterations. So, Geico, is he still as incredibly dangerous? In the meantime, Frozen might be caught out here.
Oh, just seeing that late invade, they're going into lane now. I don't think that there's too much that the bot lane of SGR can really do about this, nor that they really want to do about this. I feel like this is just going to end up turning into some vertical jungling. You know, it's whatever. You got to give over that red buff. Tony's going to pick it up. The smite is done. I'm expecting to see Figu grab that Gromp and then maybe make it into the top side, although... Cool guy Tony wants to go for this route across the mid lane at some point, maybe cause some pressure for Street Smurf immediately, though. Hook coming in from Frozen. Wants to get things started nice and early. Now, I don't know. Does Geico? Yeah, apparently does have the trading power for this level 1. I am very curious to see how these two played out.
For sure, and of course, Alistair isn't particularly strong at level 1, so trying to get those early trades in should potentially favor the side of SGR, but they actually trade back fairly effectively. You know, that Ashe passive doing quite a lot of work as he's having to walk away. So it's not too easy, but that is going to net, well, a level 2, but it's actually going to be matched immediately. So yeah, just a little bit of posturing for the time being.
Yeah, it looks like there could be a meeting between these two junglers on the top side right now. Archangel already on the way down to give that Volibear some support. Looks like they're aware that Cool Guy Tony is there, just on the ward there that they dropped at that level 1 at Raptors. I don't know if they've forgotten it's there or whatever it is, but it looks like Biku Pounder, yeah, going to be able to pick up that red buff. The level up comes through, and I think that's just going to be vertical jungling done and dusted there. Although, look at this, Biku Pounder walking towards the mid lane. Should be able to get an eye on it soon, as now Kaiser dropping some abilities, trying to get Street Smurf off. The splash is burnt out, and that is kind of a successful gank done there for Biku Pounder. Really good opening from SGR. Oh, hold on, continue the trade. The bot lane cleanse was required there to get that ignite off. Now the trade's trying to go back the other way. Geico kind of gets caught out a little bit there, takes so much damage, but it just ends up being even. Now we got even more chaos in the mid lane.
Yep, Kaiso, obviously that burns the flash very early, so he is down a stamina spell, but that's not going to deter him. In the bot side, again, aggressive trading early, ignites get used, the cleanse as well, and actually it's only not viable sitting there with his flash.
Oh, and now we're back into business. Now there's 3 on the bot lane for both sides right now. Geico's gotten the regen through, but does get flashed down right there from Cool Guy Tony. Gonna take down this Zeri. And that is going to be first blood picked up for the side of Rice Farmers, getting that optimistic opening on the bot side.
That was a sick flash, actually, for Cool Guy Tony there. He gets around Biku Pounder. He spots out his target, singles them out as Geico and says, I'm shutting you down. I know you're the problem. First spot over to him. He's already off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, and it really hurts too, because look at that recall from Geico. That's really not what you want to be opening the game up right now. If you can grab a Sheen or something like that on your first bag, no, it's just going to be a control ward, a couple extra potions, chuck you back into that bot lane. You got to deal with this Ashe. Not viable. Has been grabbing a potentially more viable pick here with the Ashe. It's such a consistent option. She's always going to be strong. You know, she has the option to just pick fights whenever she wants to. She can see the whole map. She does really good damage right now as you get into those later stages on the items. Has a lot of lane dominance as well. Street Smurf, a little bit of trouble here. It's Anonymous Chris is here. There's the headbutt. Surely coming through. No, there's no option there. The flash is burnt and dodges out from the charm. I thought that Chris was going to go for something a little bit more active there, but just a little bit of a wait and give Street Smurf the chance to flash out. Flash is burnt. It's overall, it's a decent roam. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, one thing I would say is that Rice Farmers, they really are... I think they're big fans of the Ashe in general. We've seen it twice from them from LeBlanca, and it's 2-0. So I think, yeah, it's definitely showing itself to be valuable here. As you mentioned, Escape, a lot of big potential, and the Ashe Arrow, great for setting that up. So whilst obviously it's not going to have the same dominance as some other hyper carry ADCs, it's still just going to facilitate the kind of composition that this team want to play and have shown that they are really proficient at executing. So, yeah, it's great stuff from them. And even though, Geico, he's still relatively even after that initial pick, I think things are looking pretty good for Rice Farmers so far. Yeah, you don't get that Viego snowballing. It's always nice. Obviously, Ashe, I think, is one of the best ADCs at just supporting your jungler. You can figure out where Piku Panda is on the other side of the map. Just chalk those hot shots or those hawk shots into the jungle wherever you see fit. You can do deductive and just be like, all right, he's not in top side, probably bot side. We can figure out in the river. She's so efficient at that, but not only she can get that lane control. She can get her the priority, and then you can walk into the jungle, and it's really hard to run away from an Ashe, funnily enough. So I'd be interested to see if those two are going to rendezvous a little bit more as we come into these later stages now. Obviously, Dragon is online 6 minutes into the game. But there hasn't been too much activity bot lane kind of proactively from Rice Farmers. It was really a reactive play that got them that first kill, and SGR has kind of put the brakes on since then. But I would like to see if those two are going to try and set themselves up, because the 4 strong of basically everyone except Vess for that bot side right now for Rice Farmers, I think can do a lot. We might see it get used around this first Dragon.
Yes, potentially. Of course, TP is available. Everyone except Kai'Sa, but Kai'Sa has managed to maintain priority after that early gank attempt, as we see a little bit of trading here.
Yeah, no, Vess just dropping down that counter-strike. I don't think that's going to turn into too much. I think Vess is a little bit afraid of that Jax right now. A couple items online for both of them. A very nice trade for Street Smurf right now in the mid lane. That's half HP off of that Ahri. Very low mana as well. No TP available. So I think if they know that Kai'Sa's going to look for a recall here, yeah, they are going to try and get pressure in that bot side. Try not to give over a free dragon. If you're going to give up priority in one lane, try and grab it in another. Piku Panda really does not sense that there's any danger in this bot lane. I don't think they need to either. It looks like that's just going to be backed off from Cool Guy Tony, and maybe they knew it was coming there, but it was well avoided from SGR.
You know, that trade that you mentioned, really nice trade for Street Smurf in the mid lane, actually makes quite a big deal, because Street Smurf still has TP, and he's forced to base South Kai'Sa, so he has priority, and Rice were thinking about a dive there, or they were thinking about a potential lane gank, but that can be dissuaded by the fact that Street Smurf can match it under tower. So in the end, nothing comes of it. And that does just mean that instead it is just we are going to be going back to looking our eyes, I think, again on that Drake, as you mentioned.
At TP being burnt, trying to get around for that Dragon with 4 strong there, respectively. There's both TPs available for these top laners right now. Archangel probably going to be looking for a recall. And it looks like SGR has been kind of bullied out of the pit. The recall's coming through from, I believe, both Gecko and Frozen. Yes, no, they're both going to leave that, and looks like Tony's going to that top lane, so no Dragon online just yet for either of these two teams. It looks like it is on the table, like, mentally, you know, they're both looking at it. That ability haste and that attack speed is very nice, but also just getting those Dragon stacking points as we go towards that soul right now. These two teams are practically even. There's a lot of a difference coming out right now in the top lane right now between Archangel and Vess. Archangel just looking a lot stronger. Also, this mid lane matchup has been very interesting. You talked about how Ahri, and you're talking with me personally about how that Ahri pick was going to be so important. And
yeah,
you were saying, you know, probably going to end up getting banned. SGR lets it go through, and it seems like they have a really nice answer with it with the Karma.
For sure, yeah. It's definitely been fairly neutralizing so far. I still worry that when we get into those later stages for the side of SGR, whether they'll be able to lock her down as well as the Viego. And, you know, the peak potential you mentioned, Escape, this team needs one reset in order to get online in fights between the Viego and the Ahri, so...
Oh, and the arrow was there as well. Okay, fancy feed there for Street Smurf. I was saying, it doesn't have flash online, so it could seriously cause some problems if that engage does come through now. Frozen has made their way up the river. I don't know if there's going to be any contention right there onto Chris in the jungle. Obviously, still a lot of dancing going around. Although, Piku Panda is here. There's the root coming through. Doesn't get finished there for Street Smurf, and it looks like that Volibear's just going to have to walk through that mid lane.
Yeah, that is going to be the Spirit Rush used, though.
Ooh, hold on, again, the hook does come through there from Frozen. The follow-up with the flash from Piku Panda.
Wow.
CC online. There was no chance for Kai'Sa to get out of dodge there, and he is getting sent straight back to Fountain, and that should be a good window for Dragon.
You know, we don't have as many magnificent stats in the Mythic League as we do in the Heroic League. Shoutouts to the UB boys there, but I would love to know the hook accuracy percentage from Frozen, because I don't think I've seen him miss a hook in the last week and a half. So, yeah. Even through the Spirit Rush, I don't know what that factor is, but it doesn't matter. That is going to net a kill. That's going to net a Drake as well for the side of SGR.
And you can tell how comfortable Rice Farmers were as a team there, because Kai'Sa, like you said, went really late on the Spirit Rush, had Flash available, didn't feel like he needed to burn it to get out of that. I don't know if it was kind of a reaction time thing or whatever it might be. His finger was on the Archie, and you were talking about the hook accuracy there, getting things started right now. Gecko does have the ultimate, hasn't popped it yet, just going to let Chris's time out. It's a very good trade and just evadance there from Gecko to get out of that, and, you know, they burn cooldowns. That's ulti down from Chris for a hook.
Yep, absolutely, and the SGR will be very, very happy with that. They now are just continuing to maintain priority where they need it. Cool Guy Tony is going to try it, but he's going to get spotted out here. So ultimately, what can they net?
Yeah, they've already grabbed that Ash ultimate and Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Looks like there's going to be a fight back here, though, right now, as Pico Pounder is in the wings. There's the ultimate finally coming down from Gecko.
Oh!
To get that kill picked up, but it's already lost Frozen right now. Cool Guy Tony doing so much as this Nautilus. Pico Pounder taking so little. Great flash to get him away. But now Gecko, with this speed built up, is able to chase back. Doesn't know that Chris is hanging out in that bush. Yes, Shirley has tracked that one down. That's a double kill picked up. Shirley will be a triple. And Gecko taking those nerfs with stride. He's picked up 3 kills in the bot lane.
The problems online, Escape. I was worried for. I was saying I was a little bit worried for SGR with that big potential. I'm worried for Rice Farmers now because no matter how nerfed a champion might get, and this is still a dangerous champion. She's pretty fed, very fed. That was just a Noon Quiver and pickaxe picked up in base. Geico's now, yeah, he's set himself up to be a serious problem. For Rice Farmers to contend with later on in these fights, and they overextended a little bit, I think, after Cool Guy Tony was already spotted out on Vision. So that's
in the
great
top
for
here,
SGR.
Vest gonna die. No, not quite. Vest barely getting away. No, does pick up.
Oh, he got him.
Cool Guy Tony barely getting out with the ultimate there, and Chris was just between plays, meeting the wrong one at the wrong time there. That Alistar roam nets just about nothing there. Great solo kill for Archangel in the top there, and Cool Guy Tony barely escaping with his life.
Oh, the 16-year-old man. The 16-year-old top lane div. That's what SGR have been saying the entire season long, and it's coming out again here on this Jax. They're not slowing down, SGR. They've picked up the ball and they're rolling with it.
Yeah, and that snowball can get rolling pretty dangerously on this composition. Obviously, having that Karma go for the supportive item in the mid lane does make your carries really scary because you've got that additional support of the Enchanter in the mid lane. Karma does a lot of damage with the levels as well. So if you can get yourself ahead, Karma can be so dangerous. They're running that risk right now. Speaking of risky right now, Geico caught in the bot lane right now, knocked up and pulverized and stunned, and there's just a cleanse too late. The shutdown for not viable, and Anonymous Chris looks like he's going to make it out of there alive. TP burnt from Archangel as well. Nothing lost for Rice Farmers.
Oh, they'll be very, very happy with that. Yeah, the lightning crash not possible to be used there for Geico. He does get shut down, and that is going to as well take the TP from Archangel. So now that's going to give a little bit of respite to Vez. PQ Powder's going to have to go and match that for a moment. So yeah, great response from the bot side of Rice Farmers. They're still a little bit behind, but now not viable. He's starting to look pretty scary as well.
Yeah, it's, there's room for that Ash to make things happen in the bot lane, obviously. I feel like there's going to be kind of a dot where Geico's going to be a little bit stronger, and then Not Violent is going to be a hole, and we might have to drop that thought right now. Best has already dropped the ultimate into the middle, but they're having a hard time actually dealing with Archangel right now, as he does finally won't go down. The shielding is so huge from Street Smurf. Will this Jax be able to make it out? Doesn't look like the Ignite and the Charm has dropped 4 people in the mid lane to take down that one Jax, and they do get it. But that's a worrying amount of resources having to be burned on one Jax in these early stages.
Yeah, I agree, Escape. I mean, they burn a lot of cooldowns. They get the Flash and the Spirit Rush out of Kai'So. The Hextech Ultimatum's used as well. That's going to mean that I think Rice Farmers will be dissuaded from making a play on a potential Drake. Instead, they're going to actually have to get some resets off. So not much of a tempo swing there. Archangel, yeah, he's a tough one to take down. And in fact, it looks like SGR might be the ones who are trying to set themselves up a little bit of priority on the bot side.
Yeah, the death timers aren't really that long yet. It does come a point where it's like, yeah, your ult cooldown, if you need that for a team fight, though, you haven't taken Jax out of the fight. Jax is going to be back. He's going to be even more fresh than he was when you started. Looks like he's going to make his way to his top lane, though. Vess is walking down. Frozen has no idea how dangerous that little walk-up was there. Obviously, Anonymous Chris just sitting in that bush on the control ward, playing the patient game. Maybe they don't know. Frozen once again going to walk up to the bush. Now with the reinforcements of the team there's the Ash ultimate over the top. Unstoppable Pico Pounder is able to eat that one up in the pause.
Oh, I know, man!
The crux of death. Vess and Kai'So both disconnect to try and get this game back and going. Looks like we have some internet issues, but oh boy, this one's going to start off hot.
That is a very unfortunate pause timing right there. Yep, there is a little disconnect for a second, but I think it's actually, hopefully we should be back in just a moment. But yeah, as you mentioned, just to start this one off, because we'll be getting back into the play-by-play, you need to save your breath for a second, Escape. Yeah, the arrow's already been used. It gets blocked by the unstoppable Volley Bear, excuse me. Man. Yeah, Bear Man, Big Bear. The Bear says no. Don't care about the arrow. We're back.
Right now it's just Chris in the middle of several there. TP getting burned up to that top lane. That's another kill picked up for Gecko. And we are going to get a chance to see
Let's
this
run it
one
back.
once over. And it just looked like they had no idea what they were walking into on the side of Rice Farmers.
No, absolutely not. And as you said, yeah, there's big potential, but not when 4 people are there. And that's going to be now as well. We're going to see it just one more time.
I love Riot.
I love it when gigantic bears are jumping on you as well. It's always a bit of fun. We might be having a little bit of technical difficulties just for a second, but maybe not. We are going to be, in fact, be seeing a Drake being picked up as well, and we're back.
Yeah, it looks like we're back on track. There was a brief moment where it looked like Riot was like, all right, you know, we had a couple of disconnections. You're next. But no, we are still back on track, and SGR is very much on track right now. To almost a 1.5k gold lead picked up. Obviously not massive, but we've seen some stompier games in this Mythic League so far. As Hold On now, Gecko's a little bit caught out of position. Has to go under the turret to his team for safety right now, but only 100 HP. That double, he picks it up for not viable. And now Kaizo's here. There's a big hook landed in from Frozen onto that Ashe. Taken low, but there's the stopwatch online. Street Smurf is here, shielding up those massive tanks in front of him. SGR is starting to walk through these carries right now. Huge headbutt pulverize set up there for Anonymous Chris as he has shown up, but you cannot kill this volley bear. Street Smurf continuing to power up his team and continuing to carry his team towards this win.
You better be fearing the bear. That's all I'm saying. With the shielding and the sustain from that Moonstone Renewer on Street Smurf as well, that's a dangerous mid jungle to be contending with. And yeah, it was a beautiful pick there from Not Viable, just catching Geico out and all that damage. But that's a lot of Rice Farmers who just funneled in there to get eaten up by that bear. He's eaten a lot of honey tonight. So SGR just continuing to build their advantage.
Biggest problem with a bear, right, is that a scarecrow doesn't really work. You know, like, no. A fence doesn't really work. I have no idea how you're going to keep that one up, especially when you've got that Karma there just consistently empowering Pico Pounder to go through that fight and just keep on top of it nonstop. I want to bring quick attention, you know, bring away from that fight real quick. Kraken Slayer has actually been picked up by Geico here, which I think is interesting. You know, there's a lot of mythics available, and I think that's the really nice thing about this Zeri changes moving her towards crit, is that she has some nice mythic options. You don't have to go the exact same 3 items every single game. She has some variation now. Now, Kraken being the choice here, I think that's interesting. You know, I look at a game like this, I'm obviously not the same level player as Geico, but I look at this and I'm thinking, okay, maybe look at a shield bow, something like that. Give yourself some sustain, give yourself some lasting power in these team fights, because they could go for a while. You got a Viego and a Camille and namely an Ori. Those are a lot of champions. There's going to be a lot of healing. You're going to have to stay active and alive for all that. Kraken Slayer, though, was the option, has been picked up. Interested to see how that one affects the fights coming up right now, as it does look like we're stancing for a Rift Herald that just isn't there yet.
Well, so notably, and Geico.
Hold on, now Geico's still going here as the disengage came through there from Frozen, has to flash out. There's the ultimate being burned, and here comes the volley bear on top of them, but they have already lost their support. Geico can't walk up, even though has that movement seed stacked. The slow is a % there coming up from Not Viable, and that shuts down that play very quickly. It's a quick pick found onto Frozen, and the cleanse taken away from that Zeri.
And, well... yeah, that is a big cooldown that Geico's had to expend, but ultimately no more than that is achieved from Rice Farmers there. They're not able to force too much on that mid lane. And just going back to the Kraken set, of course, let us remember that Gale Force was nerfed this patch, so the active 20 seconds longer. Obviously, Zeri, you know, she's not wanting for more mobility, but nevertheless, you know, it is definitely between that and the shield bow, I think, if you are going to be going this crit route. And if you are looking for damage, and obviously there is a little bit of armor being stacked here and there on the side of Rice Farmers, then it may still provide, particularly when you're not getting quite as many, you know, procs as previous, and you already have that Moonstone Renewer, of course, providing a lot of sustain in fights anyway. Then maybe you can just go for full damage. I don't know. Either way, Geico knows what he's doing on this champion, so I am excited to see when we finally get a real fight, because honestly we haven't seen much in the way of full-on team fights yet from these guys, but maybe we will when we get to that soul point.
Okay, Enchanted Crystal Arrow does go wide here, but here comes the Viego. Cool Guy Tony does land that stun up, and now has that counter-strike going though for Archangel. It's difficult to take him down, but he pops in a moment, just as that stun dissipates off of Cool Guy Tony, and they are able to pick up that kill. Now the TP coming into the mid lane right now. Zeri has an easy way out of there. I'm not sure Frozen does. That engage comes through from Vest right now. Anonymous Chris hanging on the edges right now. Dredgeline gonna knock that one down. And it looks like that's going to be the end of that play right there. Once again, Rice Farmers getting a catch out, finding one kill, and it looks like it might give them priority towards this Rift Herald. It's only a minute left on it, though.
Yeah, I think they're just more trying to deny it than anything because yes, as you said, 50 seconds left. Less than that, of course, before the herald itself shrivels up and we get the big snake, so or worm if you like. And more importantly, though, 40 seconds on this ocean drake. This is a potential soul point for the side of SGR. It doesn't look like they're setting their eyes on it too heavily because Archangel, though he does have TP, he is working his way back up towards the top side. They aren't rushing to get vision on that Drake, but it is still something that they can threaten. And Rice Farmers know it, so they're doing all they can right now to provide themselves some priority and get into the river as quickly as possible.
Yeah, 15 seconds on that point right now. You don't really want to give over a Moonstone mid lane Karma. Ocean,
no.
Really, if you don't have to. I wouldn't really want to give it to anybody if you have the opportunity to, as the engage does come through. Frozen's already been knocked up.
Oh my god!
Engage onto the backline from Anonymous Chris, and they've already found Geico. Frozen is burning down. Finally, Archangel joins his team, but it looks like it might just be too late. Rice Farmers find the engage they're looking for, and they're looking for a little bit more. Charm comes through under the turret. Cool guy Tony trying to play the Bears job now. Another massive headbutt pulverized under the turret there, and Anonymous Chris falls down, but he sets his team up for success right now. Bleeding a couple of kills back the other way, though. Looks like he's taking very low, and Best does fall. Archangel trying to do something. It is an ace picked up by Rice Farmers.
Just one pick, man. Just one pick, and when the resets start coming, they keep on coming for Rice Farmers. Beautiful four-man pulverized, by the way, to set things off there from Anonymous Chris, along with the arrow. But that is what Rice Farmers needed. They've been searching for a fight like that all game. They get it. They deny the soul point as well. Get themselves the mid lane turret. Game's completely swung.
Yeah, I don't think that most of SGR were even looking for that type of fight to happen. There's so many summoners still online. I'm looking at both the Geico sums are still up. You died immediately in that fight. That's really unfortunate. Just couldn't react to that one coming out of the fog of war right there. And positionally, it didn't look right either. Pigu Pounder just wasn't in the right place to follow up on that one. Frozen got hit by that Ash Arrow immediately, and then it just all hell broke loose. And that is finally some life being breathed into the side of Rice Farmers right now. They've just evened the game up.
Yeah.
This game is still remaining really close. We have seen some games end before this point in this Mythic League tournament so far.
Very true.
And to see it be this even at this point, literally less than 100 gold split, these two teams, it's really refreshing, I would say. Very exciting.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This has become a real banger because now the Baron, of course, is available. Excuse me, and now both these teams can start setting their sights on it. We've just seen, in a team fight, obviously, as you mentioned, Escape, not much like the coordination. Rice Farmers knew what they wanted there, and they executed perfectly. SGR weren't ready for that play. If they play this out again, they'll definitely be able to match that on a much, have all of their team available. Of course, Archangel TP's late in the fight and then gets picked up himself. So, whether SGR wants to try to play for this again or continue to split.
Yeah, looking like causing more problems under the turret here, but Pigu Pounder is there. It is just 4 coming through, but the TP is here. Now Street Smurf is there to keep the team alive, and now can Geico keep this chase up with the power? There's a great flash to get away from the Heartbreaker there from the Viego, and a hook followed up from Frozen. Can they take down Pigu Pounder? That shield, the body block, I think, from Geico saves his life. 2 kills traded back for SGR, and they have some wind in their sails now.
You can't get him the same way twice, man. Rice Farmers tried for another force on the dive, and Pigu Pounder's over the wall. He's ready for it, and Frozen does not miss. There was a moment there where Cool Guy Tony, he's trying to get the reset onto Geico, denied completely, as we see another fight in the bot side from the top laners.
Yeah, these two have been far from quiet thus far. It hasn't been too many kills going back either way. Right now, Archangel going for the wall play, trying to get onto Kai'Sa right now. No, there's no way for Vest to get over that wall, but I don't think there's any way for Archangel to get out of here right now. Has been revealed. So you have the ward online. The Warthog does come through. He's running towards Street Smurf right now. Kai'Sa's there. No flash, no ult available. I think that he's just going to be able to get out of there cleanly.
He is. He's a tricky one to lock down as this young top laner for the side of SGR. So ultimately, Rice Farmers don't find themselves a pick. The Baron is still the key objective that everyone's looking at the moment, and Rice Farmers continuing to try to apply pressure in that mid lane. And maybe they go for the same attempt again. They obviously the arrows. I mean, she just fired it off, but it's going to be up again in not very long. It's an enchanted crystal arrow. Whenever that's available, it's going to be available very regularly. Then they'll be looking for that same type of play. It's down to SGR. If they overextend like they did before, then it's all going to be their game. But still, it's anyone's game at the moment. Very even gold, and well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I think the longer you let this live for Rice Farmers, and I think they're aware of that, the longer this goes on for, the more difficult it's going to become, mainly on account of Street Smurf. making his team so tanky and so survivable, let alone the Ocean Soul that's potentially on the table right now. That's a few minutes away. We don't have to worry about that right now. His little trade up in the top lane right now between Kai'Sa and Street Smurf is about to be added to by Pigu Pounder going in underneath.
Oh my goodness.
Coming in right now from Rice Farmers, but I think Kai'Sa has made it out of there, and Vess is going to join this fight a little bit late right now. Pigu Pounder getting CC'd up. Hextech Ultimatum has come through, and now they're going to turn their look onto this Camille. Back underneath the turret, the Dredge line potentially about to be set up right now. No, Vess able to get out of there, and now Geico's here. The ultimate, the enchanted crystal arrow does land onto Street Smurf, and the first one to fall is actually Pigu Pounder, as now this play has been turned around. Street Smurf trying to body block for his team, get them out of there if possible, and look at this, cool guy Tony here to join the fight. The Dredge line comes through, they're all so low. Finally Geico, was able to pick up one as Frozen, but this is four killed SGR in this top lane for an inner turret found for Archangel.
And they're going to go for the Baron as well. I mean, Archangel over there, he's trying to force as best he can on, get themselves some priority on the bot side, but another overextension on the turret, and just Kai'Sa lost so long there, allows his team to get there and set up for him. Cool Guy Tony eventually enters the fight, starts to get the resets off, and just too long under the tower for Pigu Pounder. He gets cut down eventually from the Hextech Ultimatum, holding him there, and that's going to eventually net the Baron. Rice Farmers, the goal's still even, but now with that buff, the game's definitely in their hands.
Yeah, 3 items picked up for Street Smurf, though. I was talking about how the Karma's just going to make these fights start to last forever. Especially if they're facing Rice Farmers, it's going to be so difficult to actually take people down. We really saw that in that last play. That last fight lasted nearly, if not more than 30 seconds. It was really, really active. And now with all those cooldowns basically back online, there's no ultimate available right now for the Zeri. Archangel causing chaos in that top lane. Does have that TP still available. Didn't commit it during the previous fight. I think SGR is just going to drop this dragon, give point number 2 over to Rice Farmers. We're going to be at 2 apiece. And I think they're going to go try and support Archangel on this top side, which I think is relatively... I think that's a proactive play. I think that's going to really set them on top right now, as we know that there's people from Rice Farmers on the bot side. They're going to go, hey, walk up to this top lane. I think it's going to be on Rice Farmers to try and answer this one right now. But they do have that pushing power from the Baron.
They do. They have the push power of the Baron. Vez, of course, as we can see, matching the push from Archangel. More than matching it, in fact, because as you said, he has those Baron minions available. He's a split pushing Camille. There's only so much that Archangel can do because of, as you mentioned, we've been talking about that pick potential from the side of Rice Farmers. And though, yes, they're trying to apply as much pressure on the bot side as possible, the arrow's always available to try to set something up. And Kai'Sa, he's looking a little bit dangerous himself there. So if he's given that ability to set up with a charm as well, then that could be disastrous for Archangel. So they respect it. They have to give back. They have to defend this, because now on 2 fronts, their turrets are definitely getting smashed.
Where is going to be the angle right now? It looks like Rice Farmer's looking for it, just looking for an errant walk into the jungle, try to pick up some vision. Surprise, there's 3. I don't know if SGR is going to fall for this, though. They are a seasoned team in this league. They've dealt with some craziness before. Currently getting found by that hawk shot. Could see the wraparound. No, not happening. 2 control wards sitting in that bush at the moment. Looks like the play is going to be onto the Jax on the bot side. Archangel in a little bit of trouble. The TP has already been channeled there from Street Smurf, but it looks like that Jax could just go down before he even gets there. Flash is burnt, and now attention turned on to Street Smurf, as now Geico's waiting over the wall. The engage does come through.
Oh, the lightning crash.
Right now, but Vex, unkillable, and will finally go down, but he lasts long enough to get his team on top. Kai'Sa trying to find a way into the back line.
Geico
doing so much in the back. Hold on, this Zeri's starting to stack up. Way in, but no, Gale Force seals that one out. Not viable, joining the fight. Nice, and just barely making it in on time and sealing that one up for Rice Farmers, as they are going to look to maybe end this game.
They possibly can. The death times are pretty long right now, and they've got Baron minions sitting there as well. That first pick again, they get on to Archangel. He's taken out the fight completely. Street Smurf TP's in, gets taken out, and even though valiant effort from Geico on the Zeri, it's just not enough. And with still a few seconds left on Street Smurf, is he going to be able to defend this?
Archangel going to be able to zone away the remaining members right there. Yeah, Street Smurf is going to come up as well. There's very small death timers remaining. I think that's probably the right call. Just get your way out of there. They have been able to develop themselves just about a 3k gold lead. And, or not, just over a 3k gold lead at this point. And so, you know, take the safety, take your backs. That Ashe has been just gradually and quietly kind of developing in the sides, and as a result has really built up a lot of gold right now. 7, 2, and 10 currently on Not Viable has been joining fights a little bit late, but in a really good way, letting the chaos happen, let the cooldowns come through, and then come in, then start to clean things up. It's so difficult to run away from Ashe, and he's proving that right now and just getting these really nice cleanups at the end of the fight after Kai'So has already gone in there, after Vess and Cool Guy Tony have already caused their chaos. Get in there, just control the ends of these fights, and as a result, they've able to turn a lot of these fights that go quite long into something really positive for Rice Farmers.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at the amount of armor stacking on the side of Rice Farmers as well, you can understand more of why we can see Kraken Slayer LDR for Geico, right? Because he's having to put out a lot of that damage. Archangel, not really in a position to, especially if he's going to continue to get picked up, to actually take a 2v1, you know, as a Jax, if he's more ahead, would be able to. So it's a real problem for them now, because also Cool Guy Tony's got a GA, so he's got even more potential to get himself an opening in fights. As you said, not viable, looking very huge right now. He's not just, you know, a supportive ADC, as an Ashe often is. He's real damage.
Cool Guy Tony just burnt ult to try and get over the wall there, and it's on cooldown now. Okay.
Sure. Maybe it's a flex. Who knows?
Could be, maybe he was just looking for an E setup or something like that and hit the wrong key. I think we've all been there, but, you know, it's a relatively short cooldown on that Heartbreaker. I don't think they're too worried about it for the time being. I think they're just going to hang out, catch waves. They got 50 seconds on that Dragon. They've got another minute on Baron. There's no soul coming through just yet. So I think Rice Farmers are pretty happy to just chill out right now. The one thing they have to be concerned about is once that inhibitor comes up, I think it's going to really allow SGR to get back on the map and really allow Archangel to start causing problems again with that split push. So we'll see if Rice Farmers really want to allow them that much additional time as we go into the 31st minute of this game. And those objectives are starting to spawn, but it just does look like passive play, but I am expecting to see Rice Farmers move back into those neutral objective pits as they start to spawn.
Yeah, and of course with 2 dragons apiece now, SGR I think will be happy to give up the Drake potentially, even though obviously they don't want to. It's not something they'd want to, but they'll take it. But if they give up the Baron now, then that's a real problem considering how much push potential that Rice Farmers currently have. But at the end of the day, it does look like, you know, no one wants to give away with this game, because this is still one big team fight could completely swing this around back to the side of SGR. And yeah, they're going to look to do what they've been doing all game, which is try to set up a little pick, but no one's face checking. SGR have cottoned on, and they're just going to say, look, just go take the Drake if you want to. We're going to try and establish some vision in our topside jungle, get ourselves a little bit back onto the map now, and continue to hold out, because they still have the potential to make fights with the amount of sustain they have through this Karma. It's just they can't get caught out in a choke like they did the previous time, and they're trying to set themselves up the vision, but it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a bunch of chokes between them and that Baron pit at the moment. So it's, I think SGR maybe had a window to get through there, but they just had very incomplete vision, so they didn't know where Rice Farmers was on that Dragon. They didn't know if they only committed one to it or if they committed every one. So they are on the side of caution right now. There's no Baron being picked up just yet. They're leaving Archangel in that bot side right now to just clear out those waves. I think that's the right call. Obviously does have that TP online, can get into that fight if he needs to. But like you say, I think SGR really needs to make a stand at this Baron. I don't think they can afford to leave that right now.
Yeah.
TP is already being channeled by Archangel, which feels very preemptive. Obviously there was no Baron take from either team coming through right now. Now that's just on cooldown. They're going to reserve Street Smurf down to that bot lane.
Yeah. For sure, they're just trying to. They don't want to give the opportunity, because Vez and Kai'So have TP. So if they commit, then there is a potential angle just for a TP and a backdoor. So they'll be able to get vision of this, I think, but they might just have to give this over entirely. And that's, yeah, it's really not a nice position for SGR to be in. And notably, of course, as that Baron is just going to go down, anti-heal is starting to come through on some of these members of Farmers as well. And Not Viable will be able to spread it on everyone, as will Kai'So. So now that sustain from the Karma, it's starting to look a little bit, well, less potent than it was previously. But nevertheless, the prior here is still all entirely on the side of Rice Farmers. They can continue to press in 2 lanes. I'm not sure what SGR really can do to try to respond to this. Whether they can't get on Vez. Who can they get on?
Ooh, they're gonna try and find a way potentially onto Archangel. There's the charm already did come through from Frozen. He's spending a little bit of time there. Does find the ult onto Kai'So, so now here we go. Archangel onto the backline. TP has been channeled, but I think that Jax is just gonna fall already. Pigu Pounder trying to do something in that backline. Look at how chunked Gecko gets on that back. And it looks like Rice Farmers just going to be able to clean that one up so far. No deaths on the side of Rice Farmers. Gecko's trying to do something. A massive shield from Street Smurf. Hold on, maybe he's going to be able to keep that ulti online. Good dodge there out of the charm. Can you be able to walk up to this comfortably, though? Great knock up there, but also really well dodged out of. It is just Gecko 1 versus 5. And I was a little bit worried about the Zeri damage that hasn't been coming through in stride so far. He's really trying here, though. Does find that first kill, does find a second. Best gets out. Gecko starting to turn this. Chris is caught under turret, taken very low, but the Nexus is doing the same. Chris goes down. Can Gecko find this? It's so low, but no, Not Viable cleans it up, and Rice Farmers will take this game.
Oh, I thought I saw history being made there for a second escape. What a valiant effort. He's been shut down a lot all game from the side of Rice Farmers, but we saw evidence there of why Geico should be so feared on that pick, but it wasn't enough. Rice Farmers, they took a draft that they knew to a T how to execute, and they executed it. And once they swung the advantage back in their favor. Obviously, SGR building themselves an early advantage, but one big team fight swings it back in Rice Farmers' favor, and they carry it to the end of the game. They go continually undefeated in the league, and they are looking like the team to beat in finals.
Yeah, they've only got one more game to go, I believe. They can only there's only one team left to defeat them. And then it will be in our next game against Goofy Goobers. But they're just looking on top of the world. Like you say, they knew how to execute that comp. They knew what they needed to do. And it just never looked out of question at all, even with the change-up that they did have in their bot lane with non-viable and Anonymous Curse coming in. They looked super consistent. It didn't at all look like a worry. They looked like they just meshed with the team really well. And though SGR did have their moments, really, obviously, end of the game there, it's hard to miss. But even then, Archangel and Piku Pounder really having some phenomenal plays in that mid-game. It just looked like everything was facing towards Rice Farmers. It looked like everything was on them, and we are going to have an interview focused right on Rice Farmers just between games right now. We're going to be going and talking with Not Viable, so make sure you don't go anywhere.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here with today's first interview for Mythic Day 4 for our regular season, so-called, the round robin stage of our tournament. I'm joined by Not Viable subbing in for this game in ADC for Rice Farmers, Rice Gaming as it says on here. How are you feeling after the big win?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Just trying to calm down and take a breather. You know, that was a very close game. Very good game.
It was very much a tale of the energy being put into the ADs, although cool guy Tony, collecting a lot of those kills himself on the Viego. Let's talk a little bit about how this draft ended up being developed, because you found yourself in the bot lane matched up against the Zeri on the Ashe. With the Ashe not matchup, you had Chris next to you on the Alistair. Zeri not matchup in the bottom side, and then they had committed to this Karma mid to really keep the Zeri safe. And then you folks had the Camille, Viego, Ari, Ashe, Alistar. Talk to me a little bit about how you folks were thinking, feeling going into this game, since you're coming in with subs. You got Chris coming in again in a different role to substitute for the team. What were your folks thinking in this draft, and what you ended up against?
Yeah, we were a little bit surprised to see Zeri picked with the changes lately, and also we just got a lot of comfort picks for us as far as the Ari, the Viego, the Camille, Ashe for myself. It's a good pick into Zeri, and it gives your team an extra engage tool to use. So we were pretty happy with the draft. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I mean, the tale of this game, I think, is how the game ended up playing out with both of these drafts, because it looked like in the early game, even though Cool Guy Tony was being very proactive on the map, Geico was able to get that early triple kill on the bot side. You get the Zeri, those early kills, and off of the races. We saw multiple times where she was just running around. But I think the big fight for you folks was where you're able to lock down Geico right at the start of the fight. I want to say it was around like 20-ish minutes, I want to say. You guys get Geico right at the beginning of the fight. You get a solid win there. You get a push down. It was right after you pushed down the mid tier 2 or tier 1 rather.
Yes, we got the drag after. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the game overall though was mostly, I felt, even though that they had the gold and the tempo lead earlier in that game. I felt like there was a way for you folks to get back with, especially how active Tony was on the map. You were able to hold down Geico and get that kill in the bot side too at a certain point with the Gale Force. That was nice to see. So talk to me a little bit about how you folks are feeling in this game, with that little bit of early tempo going away from you, but then bringing it back and getting this win.
Yeah, some of the plays earlier didn't quite go our way. They have some beefy members to protect Zeri, and along with the Karma, it was very hard for us to get to the carries. But we found good timers throughout the mid to late game to use our solo lane, our Ari and our Camille's times to move, to find advantageous fights with numbers. And with the Ashe, we're able to start fights whenever we need to, and so we were able to claw our way back and start winning fights. And later on, it was just scrapping out, and we were doing good.
All right, well, not viable. You were looking exceptionally viable in this game, and want to congratulate you for the big showing on this matchup of gargantuan ADCs just getting spoon-fed by their whole team. It turns out you were the larger boy getting spoon-fed the most in the end, so congratulations to you folks on Rice Farmers. You're going to be back for another game coming up next. I know that you yourself won't be in that game, but do you have any thoughts for the team going into that game?
I know that the previous team supposedly practiced a week just for us, and somehow that didn't work out. But I think this next game, our team should have no problem taking the win.
Right on. Well, Not Viable, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Before we step away, though, your opportunity for final thoughts, anything that you would like to say while you're here on the caster desk, any shout-outs to anyone or any banter?
Oh, not too much. It was a good first broadcast game for me. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a close game and a lot of excitement. So I had a good time, and good luck to all the teams, and thank you for having us.
Right on. Well, congratulations, Rice Farmers. That's 5-0. Looking for that clutch 6-0 undefeated coming up next against Goofy Goobers. So don't go too far, folks. After a short break, we'll be back with our second game of today's Mythic action. So don't go too far.